guys. I am Tara Samuels from MSB Resources. Welcome to our Open to Work Elevator Spotlight call. We are doing these calls because there is now more than ever a need to kind of differentiate yourself from the pack. And what we do is gift every candidate on this call who does their spotlight a chance to have their YouTube clip to use in outreach. In our name, MSB Resources, we are here to not only help place candidates in the multifamily industry, but to be a resource for if you need an ear, if you need a resume just kind of peeked at, if you need some advice, and most importantly, if you want us to place you within the industry. So what I want to do now is introduce our beautiful spotlight candidate guest speaker. I have known Jules for a couple of years now through the industry, through my mentorship group, and she's a very well-respected person in our industry, comes with a wealth of experience, and has recently transitioned to Bonaventure as the Director of Asset Management. And she's just someone who I think has great perspective, who we're going to learn some really great things from today. And I always like to ask our guests 3 words to describe themselves. So, Jules, I love that you said supportive, driven, and ambitious. So, if you'll take a minute or two and just give a little bit more of your story, that would be great.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I started in the industry. I think a lot of us do this. We kind of just fall into it. There's never a real planned, way you get into the industry. So 20 years ago, I'm dating myself a little bit there, I was working for Old Navy as a front end supervisor, and I had a 3-year-old at home who I wanted to spend more time with. And so I submitted a application, resume, cover letter to an apartment community, a very small one, 130 units, and for the assistant manager position. And I guess I pulled at the heartstrings of the manager. And so she called me in for an interview, and the rest is history. So I started out tax credit, assistant manager. And as of today, I am now in asset management. So, and I've worked my way up. It's been a awesome and memorable career. I've been everywhere from tax credit to military housing, conventional, and senior.
I love that. And I remember from my property management days, coaching folks from retail and restaurants. Those are like the 2 best places to find talent to bring into the industry. So I love that you started at Old Navy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree. And it's so funny because one of my fellow asset managers at Bonaventure, her and I both worked at Starbucks for a time. So it's just, we all, it's so funny how that background can correlate into this industry.
100%. So let me just really quick, myself and Jennifer are both on this call representing MSB Resources. You've heard a little bit about me. I've been in the industry 20 plus years, 10 years on site, and the rest of the time on the supplier side. My true passion is giving back. So anything I can do, calls like this, mentorship, and helping people find their next opportunity is my passion. Jennifer, do you want to give a quick 1 minute or less intro on yourself?
Absolutely. So never mind my profile picture. I need to get that redone. We were at NAA and it was so hot in the summer, and he's like, come on, we need to do a headshot. I'm like, I need to get dried up. I just walked 3 miles to get here. But anyways, I am Jennifer Branscombe. I am going into, it'll be 11 years that I've been with MSB Resources next month. And I've been in the industry for, this is my 26th year. I know I don't even look that old, do I? So sorry, dating myself a little bit too. I actually got into the industry when I came to the office to fax a resume. I was trying to get a position within rehabilitation. I was working to get into a master's program for occupational therapy, but I went into my leasing office to fax a resume and got recruited by the property manager. So I started on site in Richmond, Virginia, worked in the corporate regional office for Summit Properties, which is now Camden, stayed on with Camden for a time, stayed home with my 3rd child for about 18 months. And then I contacted the recruiter that we used to use to place regional managers. And he said, just come work for me. You know the industry. I'm like, okay, have no clue what you do, but I'll give it a shot. So I've been in recruitment now for the last, I guess I want to say 16 years. So I love what I do. I love my job. I love the satisfaction of helping people get to the career point that they want to be at. I love also working with clients to help them fill the needs for their team. And yes, as Tara said, we're here as a resource for you for whatever you need going forward. We're happy to network and connect with you, whether or not we have positions that you'd be a match for or not.
Well, thank you very much. I love having you on the call, and I'll just really, this is about you guys, so I don't want to spend a lot of time here, but just as a quick snapshot, many people, if they don't know what we do, we focus on retention and recruiting. So I'm helping to launch our workplace solutions division alongside of Dr. David Wyman. So much about our industry is about how to keep your people. So I think Jules would agree that like when you find a good person, you want to hang on to them. And we're trying to make culture more than a buzzword. So my initiative is really kind of focusing and letting management companies and supplier partners know that we have this retention division and how we can help with leadership and onboarding and creating a sticky company aside from the 20 plus years that we've been doing recruiting. So I want to just encourage you. We also pay for referrals. So on our website, we always have open job opportunities across the country. Please keep an eye on that. If you know someone, if we place somebody successfully, you do get a referral. So it is something that we're proud of. Most of our placements have come through referral. So with that, I want to kind of kick it off with our first question to Jules and really just helping to understand your perspective and your insights. So a lot of interviews I'm sure you've done over your years in the industry. Obviously, online has become more popular. The Zoom interviews of the world since COVID, it's become even more so. It's even harder to stand out. But what's like the one biggest piece of advice you would give for an interview? Must things to avoid, things to say. Don't do what I'm doing right now, which is while we're out. Be natural, but take it away, Jules.
Honestly, when you're in an interview, you've got a little anxiety going. So, that happens. I think that when you are the interviewer, you want to sympathize and understand that people are feeling a little bit of anxiety. If we're doing a virtual interview, one of the biggest things I would recommend, I've seen this happen time and time again, is test your equipment before the interview and just make sure everything works. I've had that actually happen to me as well. And it's not fun when it happens. So you want to make sure that your equipment works, that you don't have a busy background. If you have your puppies, like I do, sitting beside me snoring, you might want to put them in the other room for your interview. Make sure that you are pronouncing your words and you have good summaries of things that you want to discuss. Don't try and answer something that you don't know the answer to. I actually in my interview with my last company, I got asked a question about NOI. And for the life of me, I just couldn't remember. And so I just honestly answered that question and told the interviewer, I said, I'm so sorry, I don't know the answer to that question, but I will get back to you. And I did. I went back to my office that day. I found the answer to that question and I emailed it to them, and they will respect you more for that than making up some kind of answer just to feel like you've filled that space.
I love that piece of advice because that happened to me as well. And I think the fake it till you make it thing doesn't apply in interviews. I actually don't like all. So I appreciate you sharing that. That is a really, really great piece of advice. So Wendy, we will kick it to you. Here is your slide. So we'll basically start it here. So Wendy Tucker, now is your time to shine. Please tell us a little bit about you and what you're looking for in your next opportunity.
Thanks so much. I'm Wendy Tucker. I've been in the multifamily industry a lot longer than I generally will admit. Sometimes that tells my age. So we'll just say 25 plus years. Over that time, I've held long tenures with several large firms, including RPM Living, CF Real Estate Services, Greystar, Trammell Crow Residential, and Summit way back in the day. My most recent position was that of Senior Vice President of Operations for RPM Living. My passion has always been in property operations, but I also really enjoy working in new business development. I've overseen portfolios across the Southeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Midwest regions. My career has truly spanned the gamut, various asset classes, conventional, multifamily, senior living, affordable housing, single family, and most recently build for rent. I've operated all phases of development from conception and new construction through lease up, stabilization, repositioning, and even value add and renovation. Don't know that I have a favorite necessarily. I enjoy all of that. And my leadership style is very hands-on. I believe in transparency, feedback fuels growth, setting expectations both for myself and for my team and holding us all accountable. Love to celebrate the achievements of my team and create an atmosphere that's conducive of learning and growth. And I just appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself and my background.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's go next to back to a question for our industry expert. I feel like this is almost like a game show. Okay, Jules, we're going to hit it back to you. So we have a very, in the multifamily industry, I know some folks start from other industries. As we heard from you, you started in retail, but like there's constant involvement and innovation in our industry. So what is an emerging trend or challenge that you think candidates should be aware of to stay competitive, and how can they prepare for it?
I think that we are constantly coming up with new software and ways to make on-site teams more efficient, our accounting teams more efficient. So staying up to date on the software and the software trends, staying up to date on anything tech is good, especially on the amenity side. Knowing what's upcoming is excellent. Right now, I've got a lot of co-work spaces, very popular. Updating the gyms. I just added a Jacob's ladder. Who knew that we'd end up with a Jacob's ladder in a gym? But staying up to date with the trends as far as you know, software tech, anything amenity wise, those are all important things.
I agree with that. Can I just admit I don't know what a Jacob's ladder is?
You know, it reminds me of the little toddler room, you know, at the daycare. It's got literally wooden like bars that go, and then you climb it, and it's a very popular thing right now. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on the resident surveys asking for that specific piece of equipment.
Is it hanging or is it mounted to a wall, or
it almost looks like a hill. It's its own self, kind of like what the stair climber, but picture it with, it's kind of just like a ledge with these bars going across, and they're rotating up. Like
wow.
Yeah, what's the treadmill? I'm losing my words. So it's the
elliptical
treadmill. But think of it as an angle with bars.
Like a
stair climber. Got it. I get it. That sounds interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
Be good for upper body.
Hey,
yes.
Jules, did you say co-working as well?
Co-work space is very popular right now. We've seen that kind of trending in all of our developments. We see a lot of people, and I know this is kind of a taboo discussion right now, but work from home. So there still is a huge amount of the population that's working from home. And so having the co-work space allows them to have a space outside of their home where they can go and feel refreshed in work and kind of separate the two.
That's
so
great.
We're actually building in several developments a separate building that allows them to have that space, allows them to rent it by the day, by the week, by the month. I actually had an asset in North Carolina where we did it. It was a completely separate building that people who didn't even live there could rent. And then we had PO boxes. So it's becoming a well-known amenity.
I love that. So I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Is it Lorina? Am I saying that right?
Yes, it is. Thank you so much. Because very few people pronounce it right for the first time.
Well, and most people call me Tara, and it's Tara, so I feel your pain. Okay, well, let's put your slide up, and we will get Jennifer ready on the 2 minutes. You good? Okay.
Yep.
All right, Lorena, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Tara, and it's a pleasure being on this call with all of you. My name is Lorina. I have similar to Wendy, lots of years of experience in the multifamily industry. So I have over 23 years experience working with different aspects of the business, from conventional communities to new development and lease up. Most recently, had experience working in manufactured housing with Sun Communities. I have, overseen projects, value add projects, have experience writing budgets from $0 to seeing through the lease up projects. So it's been a journey. I don't see myself in any other industry other than property management. I'm kind of one of those people, when you get into it, you're not stuck, but you just love it. And the opportunity to grow in this industry, from starting as a leasing agent where I started with, the opportunities are endless. And I've always promoted to close family and friends. This is, if you want a career, if you want to see yourself develop, if you want to feed into other people that you work with and see them grow as well, property management is where it's at. So I thrive in the environment. I love helping people. I've loved all of the relationships that I've built, being in the industry for so long. A lot of the companies that I've worked for have come across from my prior relationships that I've built. So it's just been an awesome experience. And yeah, I'm open to work, and currently looking for a regional role at this time. So it's been a pleasure sharing my journey with you all.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Jennifer, you can put your hand down now. Thank you for doing that. Caught my attention. Thank you, Lorena. Okay, Haley, are you ready to go?
I am ready to go. Thank you. Thank you for having this. It's a fantastic way to market yourself in the property management industry. I have been in single family homes and multifamily property management for 20 years. I've done tax credit and bond properties, market properties, and then build to rent homes. Most recently, I've done that as well. When I worked in multifamily, my highest position was a district manager. I had about 2,500 units. And then I moved to single family residences, and I started in the property management side of things, but moved over to maintenance. And it's given me a wider perspective about what we all do, from budgets to whereas as property management, we're all about the collecting and closing the back end, those renewals. But the maintenance is all about the spending, and it's a completely different perspective. And so I've done the vendor management, I've done bid, I'm familiar with pricing, bid review, all of that good stuff, turns, and how renewals are our bread and butter, because then we don't have to spend that money on the turns. So I really loved your questions, and my favorite question kind of cues up why my perspective on being property management and maintenance is because
we're at time.
Oh,
So
actually, I've been doing the hand raising when there's 30 seconds left.
Oh, I didn't know that.
oh,
I thought that was what I was supposed to do, just to give them 30 seconds to wrap up. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yep. Haley, go ahead.
But my favorite question, and it was most telling for me, was what kitchen appliance I would be, and why. And it was because one, they don't generally require much maintenance. My current stove is 22 years old. They're easily repaired by in-house maintenance with a part. So you're not spending much money. They are self-cleaning. That's self-explanatory. And that's where you cook your family meals, and it turns your apartment or your house into a home. And that makes you there for the customer service piece.
I love
I love
that.
that. Thank you for
Thank you.
tying okay, let's go back to a question really quick for our Miss Jules. I love seeing kind of like the change in careers and titles. Obviously, skill sets change, the demand changes. What can you say? And if someone's thinking about what, and I love that this just kind of came from Haley, like transitioning to a maintenance side of things is completely, it was a nice little segue there. So for someone who's thinking about changing directions in their career, what advice would you give?
I think the most important thing when you're looking to change your career is doing the research to know what the transition entails and trying to put the initiative in to lay the foundation of what you would need for that transition, and thinking about the skills that you already possess and how you can take those skills and transfer them over into a different aspect. For example, I'm very operations driven, from being on site. I was able to take that into asset management, whereas most of my colleagues have a financial background or an accounting background. I have that ops background. So I can kind of take what I have and take things to the next level where they didn't have the same skill set. So take what you have, amplify it, and look at what you're missing and try and lay the foundation for it. But definitely market the things that you can use from your current skill set to that new career and show them how that can make a big impact on you being a team player and being a part of that asset, being an asset to them.
That's great advice. I love that. I love the amplify. I got a nice visual from that too. That was great. All right, let's go find Nicole. Nicole, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
And Nicole, when I put my hand up, it just means you have like 30 seconds left to kind of come up with your closing.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds great. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Nicole Pearce. I'm thankful to be on this call. I am a seasoned vet in the sales professional space. I love building relationships, building trust, and my tagline is connecting communities to opportunities. I feel like that is honestly what I enjoy doing. I truly care about the people on the other side. So I have an undergrad degree in economics. I have a master's in education administration. My most recent role, I was at Rent as a sales professional, which is a digital marketing company for multifamily. I started in real estate over 20 years ago. I started as a loan officer for BA Loans. I worked for a closing attorney and I was a realtor. And then from there, my sales experience just kind of elevated. I also have worked as a realtor for multifamily, so investors that were building multifamily complexes, buying land, and then transitioned from there to rent. I also worked in client success, where I was hired to renew clients at a 60% increase and make them be happy about it. And the way you do that is by providing value and building those relationships. I also have been an assistant director in development, so always constantly trying to connect that community to opportunities. I truly care about people and the things I do, and I'm grateful that I got an opportunity to be here today. So thank you.
Absolutely. You have a few more seconds if you have anything else you want to add.
Well, if you want to know what my kitchen appliance was, I chose the coffee maker because you use it every day. I like to be useful. I believe it brings joy to most people when they have coffee. It's warm. I hope to bring warmth to everyone I know. And I think that just fits me the best. So
That is really, really nice. And I absolutely love that you have yourself a tagline. I think that's really useful. Very cool.
Yeah, it's been mine for quite some time. I feel like any role I've ever had has done that in some capacity. So
Love that. John, are you prepared, ready to go? How's the timing?
Yeah, my guy's just sitting out in the parking lot, so I just might as well go and get in there.
Okay, so let me back it up. Oh, There we go. All right.
That
Jennifer, are
looks
you ready to go
familiar.
on?
I'm ready.
Ready?
Okay, John,
Well,
take it away.
hi, everyone. John Walker here. I'm grateful to Tara and the group for having the opportunity to chat with you today. My background is shopping centers. I've been in the business for over 30 years, I hate to say. And it was a great opportunity, both from the management side and middle management, focusing on operations and redevelopment opportunities. I recently relocated from San Diego to the greater Houston area and took some time off, and I'm excited about getting back in the game, both in asset management and property management. And again, the bottom line for me has always been operational excellence. Throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working with some strong industry leaders, Trizec Hahn, General Growth Properties, the Price Group, and the focus just by occurrence, happenstance, was repositioning, stabilizing, and redeveloping assets. My style is hands-on leadership, focusing on building high-performing teams and aligning operational performance with investment goals. A key strength of mine is stabilizing underperforming assets, whether it's repositioning a struggling property or spearheading a redevelopment, or leveraging AI-driven analytics. And I'm just getting started in the AI stuff, but I'm fascinated with it, to optimize performance. To summarize, I strive to excel in unlocking that hidden value wherever it might be. We used to say, look under that rock for the next nickel. The commercial real estate landscape is constantly changing, and my goal is to stay ahead of the game by integrating technology-driven solutions into best practices to streamline the decision-making
That's time.
process. As I look to the future, I
That's
think.
time.
Sorry?
That's time.
Time's up.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Jennifer. I think that's all the candidates we had that had signed up. So what I would like to do is go back to Jules for some more questions, and then I'm excited because we'll have some open time at the end to network a little bit and share some tips and tricks. I do want to say, Jules, this is completely unscripted, but what I noticed when these candidates were submitting, one of the most popular themes that I saw in terms of a superpower was empathy. I think there's so much to that. There's so many folks that answered that who aren't on this call, and that was exciting because they've got interviews right now. But I saw a trend there on empathy. How does that like resonate with you, just kind of from your vantage point?
Empathy in our industry is just invaluable. I mean, you have to consider that you're working with people, you're dealing with their homes. It's not transactional. It's, you know, it's not just a job. You have people who you are dealing with their homes and where they live, where they come home, where they make their dinners, where they raise their families. So having empathy is critical. You know, you, especially in this day and age where you have, you know, people who are getting laid off and may not be able to make that rent payment. And we have a job to do, but you have to sometimes put that aside and just look at this as a person and sit there and listen to them and try and do the best to help them in any way you can. And that could be hard sometimes, but there is a lot of joy in it, and helping people succeed and find ways to be successful and get past those hurdles is wonderful.
I love that.
Just a
go
quick
ahead.
add-on for that. I will say, just as a quick plug for what I do and my heart for this industry, I feel like having been in the industry and worked on site and worked at the corporate regional office, and know that there's definitely drama in property management, whether it's on site or in corporate, or if there's mergers or whatever it is, there's always some sort of event or drama. And, you know, being a recruiter for this industry is rewarding in that I get to connect with people on a personal level for that, because I understand what it's like, and I understand the ever evolving and changing industry that this is. And the people that work in this industry are so strong and intelligent because they're able to adapt and adjust to all of these changes. So just wanted to say I commend you all for what you do. And MSB, a lot of us have worked in the industry, so we can definitely offer that empathy if you need anyone just to chat with or vent to or whatever.
Thank you for sharing that. Jewel, I'm going to reshare my screen and ask Jules a question, which I love that, again, I don't think I'm going to go into Old Navy and not think of you now. The whole Old Navy start. So what I want to know is we've actually get a lot of times MSB will get candidates who ask like, hey, I know you've got some positions open. I don't have multifamily experience, you know, but I might have translatable experience, like John's coming from the shopping center industry. So what kind of advice would you give for people trying to break into multifamily and have a different background?
I think it comes down to weighing your strengths. For me with retail, I had a bit of the financial because I handled the front end with the cash registers, but also in retail, you're dealing with the public. You are front facing with the public. And that is what you do in multifamily. If you are on site, you are dealing with your customers. If you are corporate level, you are dealing with your internal customers. You're handling your on-site teams. You're working, you know, with your C-suite and making sure all the reports are done. So leveraging what skills you have and how they translate into our industry, it's really not that hard. And like you said, the best candidates we find sometimes are retail, restaurants, spas. I mean, I can tell you, I've handed out my card everywhere. At a nail salon, you know, the nail tech, I was, oh my gosh, I need you to come and help us lease apartments. We have a lease up around the corner. So you just weigh what skills you have in how they can relate to the industry. And then go around, even if you decide, if there's not even an opening, I always recommend making the connections, like go into the local apartment communities, meet the manager, hand over your resume, ask them if they know of anybody that's hiring, look up our BAMA, we have BAMA here and they are incredible. That is our industry association, you know, go to a coffee on Friday, you know, get to know people in the industry. There's so many different ways that you can get involved and integrate yourself and find a way to join the community.
I love that. And one thing I want to share with you all is being on a call like this is hard. It is to pitch yourself, like when you go to networking events, when you prepare for an interview. We talked about in the beginning, there can be some trepidation, even from the person who's interviewing. I think a lot of people forget about that. Sometimes the person who's interviewing you might have a little nervousness as well. It is a two-way street. And so I want to commend you for taking and doing something out of your comfort zone. I can't imagine that this is something that you're like, woohoo, sign me up. I love being out of my comfort zone and spotlighting myself for 2 minutes. It's great. I think when you come to a community like this, what I love is the specialness of support. Yeah, I hope that you all walk away with just having each other's LinkedIn's, but then maybe practice with one another, give some honest feedback, really take the time to get to know one another. And I think anytime you pay it forward, it puts out some great, you know, manifestation and just some good vibes into the world. So I just want to make sure every one of you knows that we don't discount how hard coming on a call like this is. So thank you for putting yourself out there. Jules, I think I had one more question for you before we kind of open it up, because there's some folks who weren't able to make it. Yep. I want to kind of end with this and then we'll open up and have some open networking. So looking back, is there a skill that has kind of helped you succeed, but something you didn't really expect when you started out, and any advice on how candidates can develop that early on?
So I think the skills, it depends on where your strengths lie. For me, I ended up being a really good problem solver. And although you do solve problems, you know, on site, I ended up, for the last 3 companies I worked for, I was able to take care of everything efficiently. That was in my first responsibility, and then help out within my team, within my portfolio, and stretch myself out because I was able to problem solve immediately, my first responsibilities, and then push off. So what I would suggest is take the skills that you hold strong and use those and leverage them to help out and push yourself. Staying open-minded about maybe there's a skill that you aren't 100% sure of, giving it a try, finding out maybe that's something that you are really good at and you never knew. So trying different skills to see if there's something out there that maybe you can do that will create an advantage for you that you don't even know about. Continually learning, trying to keep up with whatever trends are with the learning processes. And we talked about before, you know, software and tech, things like that, but just staying open-minded and continuing to learn. 2 years ago, had the opportunity to join the Leadership Lyceum through NAA and had an amazing experience and kind of put myself out there, was really excited to do it. Had just gotten a new job, actually leveraged that in my employment offer and was able to work that in, and it has opened so many doors. And I'm so excited that this year, there are 2 different people who I worked with last year, 2 different regionals in 2 different states who are in the Lyceum together this year. So just always be open to opportunities and look for ways that you can add value to yourself. And it's even if you don't feel comfortable, give it a try. You never know.
That is some really sage advice. I would say too, that if you feel like financials, let's say, are not your strong suit, but maybe someone on this call has spoken about financials being theirs, take that conversation offline and see if they might have some tips and tricks for you, and kind of speak up. Like when you don't know something, I love that you said that in the very beginning, Jules, about, we talked about not faking it till you make it, right? If you don't know what NOI is on the spot, because maybe you just, in an interview, sometimes you blank out.
Absolutely.
Admit what you don't know and be okay with that. I think that that's really great, because that honesty, I think, is a great way to stand out from other candidates, right? It's just like just taking that moment of pause and like, you know what, I don't know. I will share one trick too that, and I would love to hear from other folks too. Has anyone heard, just kind of show of hands, of or use LinkedIn voice message?
I
Okay,
received one and I didn't know how it even worked. So I'm interested. I hope you're going to tell us.
I'm going to tell you because, and Jennifer, we've been talking about this internally because MSB is utilizing this a lot. I've been using it for years, and literally it's on your phone. Anyone that has LinkedIn can use it. The way to send a message to somebody is you have to be first connections. So, Wendy, I know you and I are first connections. Please practice with me. Here's how it works. You'll see when you go to, instead of sending somebody a direct message that you would normally type out, there's a microphone in the bottom right corner, and you can hold that down like a walkie-talkie. Now, I will caution you that when you press it down, you have up to a minute to record a LinkedIn voice message. When you let go, the message sends.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to practice a couple of times on people that will be your sounding board. What I was doing in the beginning, which is hilarious, and I still catch myself doing it, is I'll be like, "Hey, Jules!" exclamation point. And I'm like, no, it's not a voice text. It's literally like leaving a voice. So it's in place of like leaving a voicemail. I would encourage, if you find a hiring manager or any person that is out there saying that they're looking for a job, or if there's a company you really want to work for, let's say Bonaventure is one of those companies, but they don't have a position that matches your experience, why not send Jules a LinkedIn voice message that says, "Hi, Jules, I'm Tara. I just want to let you know that if you ever have a position open for marketing manager, here's some of my qualifications." Maybe throw in a fun fact to add some personality and some life. Again, it's up to a minute. And if Jules gets that voice message, you bet you're going to stand out from other candidates. So it's an amazing tool also at networking events. I use it all the time. So after someone has given me their business card, maybe later in the conference, I'll shoot them a quick LinkedIn voice message. And then they're like, whoa. And to your point, Wendy, like if you receive one, sometimes you don't even know what to do after that, because you're like, how do I send it back?
Right.
What are some like tips and tricks that other folks maybe have and want to share? Let's kind of have some open networking for the last 10 minutes. What's working? What's not working?
Hey, Tara.
I'll just say, I'm finding myself for the first time ever in my career being on the side of the table looking for a new opportunity. And I'm trying to do anything I can to stay relevant and current, right? So where I haven't marketed myself very well over the last however many years on LinkedIn, I'm finally doing it now. I'm attending any podcast, anything that's out there that sounds like it could give me some nuggets of insight, like try this, or, coaching tips, or even leadership skills. And I'm making it a point to network. And that's not necessarily in my comfort zone in that realm. But just making myself do it and be in it.
So for
I would
me,
say, oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say,
We're twinsies. Just go ahead, girlfriend.
I was just gonna say, don't be afraid to shoot your shot. So I have reached out to recruiters proactively. I've reached out to peers in the industry proactively, just helping them understand, hey, I'm in the market, I'm open to work. If you hear of anything, if you know of anybody hiring, because I feel like that saying goes, you what is the saying? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Right.
So I would just say, don't have fear in the position that you're in. Use whatever, position you're in to fuel your next steps. So just be proactive and try to create those relationships maybe that we didn't have time to prior when we were employed, because you're so busy with everything else. So but don't let this overtake your life either. You do have to have some type of balance. You cannot make job searching a full-time job. You do have to, maintain your life as well. Because then it'll just consume your mind with what's not happening. So just shoot your shot. Don't be afraid to do that. And also, take account of the blessings that you have currently.
To piggyback on that, yes, it's great to take risks, and the people that are meant to hear those things or meant to be in your life, they are going to take it in the right way, and you're never going to, you have to just kind of trust the process and know that what's meant for you will be for you. There's nothing that's going to stop that. So try not to let yourself get down if something doesn't work out, because obviously there was something about it that wasn't right, and that ultimately wouldn't have been right in the long run. Oftentimes I'll talk to candidates and we find a great position and we think, oh, this is perfect, but it doesn't work out. So usually it's maybe the second, third, or fourth time that we talk about an opportunity where we really zone in and find the right fit, both culturally and for their skill set. So just don't get discouraged. What's meant for you is going to happen.
Love that. Nicole, you were going to chime in.
Yeah, and it's funny, we were twinsies because I was kind of going to say the same thing. I'm not one to ask for help. I'm a big doer myself type person. I can take care of myself. I'm a big girl. But I will say in this space, I have leaned in on connections, whether even if they weren't the hiring manager of the company, but there was interest or something there. I've been asking people to help. Like, point me in the right direction. Who's the recruiter? Who can I express this interest to? Because it means that much to me at this point. And funny enough, the outpour of support is tremendous. And then you're also getting like the internal employee recommendation at the same time. So it's like really pushing you forward in another direction. So I would just say, don't be afraid to like try to leverage the relationships that you've had, even if they aren't the ones that are going to be doing the hiring.
I appreciate you saying that. I do want to say too that we are going to be we host these regularly. So we're going to have another one in the month of March. I don't have the date yet, but will you please encourage your network if someone would like to do an opportunity like this to practice, their pitch, and then also network with some other peers. Keep an eye on MSB's page, my page. We'll have those announcements. And Jules, I want to make sure, why don't we do this real quick? I would like to give you the last minute or two for closing remarks, and then we'll open it up again one more time. But Jules, any kind of final thoughts on this call today?
I am very grateful that you asked me to do this. This was the first time that I've ever done something like this. So very much appreciated letting me be the guinea pig for myself. I think everybody here has been fantastic. I loved hearing all the different pitches. All of you have so much talent and such just a variety of just skill sets. It's amazing. So I am so happy that I was able to meet everybody. I would love to connect with everybody here. If there's anything that I can do or offer or provide or connect, I'm happy to do that.
That's amazing. Haley, I feel like you might have, you were about to say something. Did you have something to add?
Well, I just wanted to say, don't be afraid to take a job that maybe is below what you're looking for, because there is a ton of room to grow. You know, if you're good enough to be above that position, then that will show. And then from there, you can grow with that company.
Also, to add on
I love
that,
that. That is such a great piece of advice. And are we frozen? Are you guys there?
we're here.
We're here.
Hey guys, are we frozen?
No.
Nope.
To add on what
Hello?
Haley said, if you
You're frozen.
sorry.
Everybody clap on.
I'll just add to what Haley said. If you see an opportunity that might look like it is below what you've currently done, you may want to inquire about it anyway, just because so many companies have different titles for different positions, and you just never know. So if you have a question about anything that we're working on, give us a call. Smaller companies may call it one title, larger companies another, and you just can't make assumptions. There's just so many different types of roles within this industry.
To piggyback off of Jennifer too, I applied for a role that seemed like out of my reach. So like, instead of going down, you can also go on the up. And turns out their title was just like giant for the same role, right? I mean, so, you know, you never know, right? So
The interview experience is helpful too. So even if you feel like maybe this might not be a fit for me and you get offered the interview, absolutely take it, because that's just going to help you kind of, you know, build up your confidence. And maybe I should have said this and I didn't, and maybe I shouldn't have said that. So that is good practice as well.
Or
And
they
on
might
that-
have another
on that same-
position in mind for you that wouldn't have been the role that you actually were interviewing for.
That's right.
Right.
And I was just going to add really quickly on that same note, even if it says that it's an on-site position or hybrid, if you know that you're skilled and you know, able to do that kind of work, push for it. I'm on my 6th interview with an organization that wanted somebody on-site in Nashville, and now they are saying that I could work remotely. I'm hoping to have an offer next week.
Good luck.
Cross my fingers for you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
also, what's the best advice to try to push someone that wants to schedule an interview where you already have the interview scheduled at that same time slot? So I have like so many that want Monday all at the same time, and I'm trying to figure out how to like gently tell them I'm still interested, but can we do it Tuesday? Anybody have advice?
I would just be honest, and it's kind of good for them to know that you're in demand, honestly. You can say, I do have something at that time frame. What does your schedule for Tuesday look like? Your time is just as valuable as theirs.
I think also giving, to piggyback off of what Jennifer said, is when you go back with maybe instead of just an alternate day, provide a couple of time options to make it really easy on them. So if you say like, oh, it's 11 or 3 Eastern, does that work for you? I think that also just helps with less back and forth as well. And I don't know how I got kicked out of my own Zoom, so sorry guys. It's nice to be back. So we're at the top of the hour. I want to just thank Jules and Jennifer for helping me co-host this. We will be sending you your individual YouTube clips within the next couple of days. We're butted up, obviously, against an approaching weekend, so probably Monday, Tuesday. I will send them to you individually, and then please look out for this call posted on the MSB YouTube page as well. Feel free to use the whole thing if you'd like. I mean, this interaction also helps people get to know you as well, so don't be afraid to use that link. But thank you again, Jules. Appreciate it as much as you were snowed in today. I'm glad you were part of being part of this call. And everyone, good luck.
Thank you.
It's tough, and I want you to just remember these 3 words before we hang up, which is rejection is redirection. That is what got me through my open to work times, and it sucks. Embrace the suck because it does suck. Allow it, and then remember that. And Jennifer kind of touched on this before. If it's for you, it won't pass you by. So with that, everyone have a fantastic weekend, and it was great having you on this call. And stay tuned for March's call.
And
Great
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.